The snow was falling, falling faintly through the universe, and faintly falling on all the living and the dead.
I understand that this is your first time working with Pedro. He'd made most of his last few features with another amazing cinematographer, Jose Luis Alcaine. What was that initial conversation, knowing that the baggage that comes with Pedro, the positive, wonderful baggage that comes with him?
Yeah, it was not an easy place to be, and obviously stepping into Jose Luis Alcaine, who is a legendary cinematographer in Spain, it was pretty challenging. But Pedro, wanted a little bit of a change. So he was doing an American movie, so he wanted a little bit of an American taste, and because I'm based here, and he also wanted a bit of fresh air. He has a very peculiar way of seeing the world, as we know. But he was also looking to be surprised. So that's why he called me, I imagine.
And so when you sign on to this, did you go back and rewatch a lot of his films? Did you sort of study his work? What was the process for you?
He has such a distinctive look, and the use of colors and light is so peculiar that I'm not going to talk to Pedro about other references. I'm going to talk to Pedro what he knows best. So basically, I studied, I watched all his movies, I learned a lot from it. I saw the patterns that he had been working with, even despite that changing DPs. He's been changing DPs throughout his career, but all the movies are recognizable to a place that, oh, this is Pedro's.
What are some of those patterns that you recognize in watching his work that sort of call it your attention?
He has such an amazing love and care for every detail of the set and the production design. He's especially very careful and in love with his colors and with his red, with his green, with his yellow. One day he was not happy with the red that he was seeing on the screen. And he was like, bring the door. And they took the door from the set and they brought it there to compare it to the door on the film, So it's like, it's that kind of a specificness. And he did mention that he wanted this movie to be the darkest he's been, but he also didn't want to make a sad cancer movie. He was very beautiful. One day it was like, how do we want to light them? And his answer was, I want to light the actresses from inside. I was like, what do you mean? It was his poetic way of saying that the actors are at the center of his stories. And for him, the human landscape is his obsession. And once you understand that, it's like, okay, we need to make the actresses shine in this movie, and that's what we aim for.
Did you find it challenging to get your voice in there to sort of do something that also felt true to yourself, to you?
Yes and no. Like at the end of the day, I'm a cinematographer. That what I like is to tell the story that the director wants to tell in the way he wants to tell it, or she wants to tell it. And in this case, I did try to make it as Pedro as possible, or helping him achieve his vision.
Is he a director that brings you specific visual references beyond telling you to light the actresses from the inside? Did he sort of shows you a look or colors references? What sort of materials did he provide?
Pedro doesn't like to talk too much conceptually about light or camera, because it's like, hey, it's all in there, or what I've done before. I don't want to be talking too much. He told me that, I'm like a painter. I need to paint a color and then see if I like it, and then paint another one, and then the previous one, maybe I change it. He's very good at reacting to something and making it better. He's built a production company around the way he makes films. El Deseo is like his family, is his film family, and he's like, they all understand his needs. Everyone that was the newcomers on set, we were all like, what's happening? Why are we doing things like this? This is all so weird. We had to remind ourselves that the reason why we were there is because we love Pedro's movies. We love what he does. And what he does is not normal. And it's kind of important to remember the essence of an artist and glorify the process to achieve the results. So it's quite an extraordinary adventure.
This is Pedro's first feature in English. He's made some shorts in English. Would you say that anything changed in the sort of translation of language? Meaning visually, did his way of seeing the world change because he's now working with American actresses or English-speaking actresses?
It's very strange, because Americans, now that they hear Pedro's movie for the first time in English, they're like, oh, it doesn't sound very American sometimes. This is what Spanish people have always, thought about his movies. He doesn't talk or doesn't write his movies in what I would say normal Spanish. He has a Pedro way of speaking that has a kind of a literature component, but also poetic, but also very working class. For him was obviously a challenge. He wrote the movie in Spanish and then translated, and I think he really enjoyed it as well. He enjoyed working with actresses of that caliber that would bring a different dimension to his words.
You worked with Julian Moore before. Did that sort of bring you some comfort, sort of like working with someone that you worked before?
I wasn't sure if she was gonna remember me because we did A Single Man 15 years before. But no, she was super sweet, super happy to see me, and we hit it off like it was yesterday. So it was kind of very beautiful on a very challenging, difficult environment for me. That was like the first time on that family. Finding someone like Julianne, it's always comforting. And Tilda is just so sweet. Those actresses that make life so much easier. It was a miracle. Every day, some miracle will happen in front of the camera, and it would be like, wow.
For a movie like this, where the dialogue is so important, there's sort of like speeches, and it's a few actors only. What do you think you can bring as a cinematographer to perhaps make it more vivid, and for the audience not to feel like we're sort of like focusing on the dialogue? I mean, it doesn't feel that way, so I wonder, how do you achieve that?
Pedro, he was like, yeah, there's a lot of words in this movie and there's going to be a lot of close-ups in it. So be ready. As a cinematographer, you have to find creative ways of making it interesting and, and tell the story in the best possible way. All the ones that were with Tilda's character close to death was very challenging, because of the emotional charge. And that particular scene, for example, we block it all and then we shot quite quickly.
Is there a particular shot in the film that you enjoy, or that you were very pleased to see make it into the final cut? Is there one?
Yeah, no, the one I'm the most in love with, when Tilda is getting all that yellow dress and the red lipstick. The moment that Julianne arrives and sees her, when we shot it, I had goosebumps because it was like, oh, this is the moment I will remember forever. Of just everything, the sun, the actresses, the colors, the moment of the story. It screamed, you made it. It's a Pedro Almodovar film.
Aside from The Room Next Door, which one is your favorite of Pedro's movies and why?
All About My Mother, for sure. Funny enough, I'm from Barcelona, and Pedro's filmography is all in Madrid. But that one, All About My Mother, happens in Barcelona. And what he did to Barcelona was that he saw it with different eyes, like I've never seen before. And it's still one of the most beautiful looking movies about Barcelona. The acting, the lighting, the story, the locations. It's just a master at work. That one is the closest to my heart.
And now you're part of his legacy. So congratulations. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.